To anyone, this is just a regular can of smoke. But to a filmmaker, there's endless possibilities. I found myself in a creative funk recently, and I feel like all creatives go through it at least once every now and again. So I started brainstorming. How can I make my videos stand out again? What's that one extra step that I need to take? Recently, I've been seeing people on Instagram using colored smoke to spice up their photos, and I thought to myself, how cool would it be to incorporate that into a video? So I bought 20 canisters. So now it was time to see how I could put these smoke canisters to work. I challenged myself to find 3 different ways that I could incorporate this smoke into video. And this is what I came up with. So on comes our first challenge, aesthetic. Whenever I received the smoke canisters, the first thing that came to mind was incorporating them into a dance of some sort. So I called my college friend who's a longtime dancer and met with her at a forest near my house. I gave her some music to dance along with, and the only direction that I really gave her was to move around a bunch, which is an incredibly silly thing to tell a dancer. Usually when I'm working with someone that's a pro in their field, and it's a field that I don't know much about, I tend not to give too much direction and kind of just watch them in their element and see what they come up with. A small note about these smoke canisters. They get hot. So in my best efforts to keep the talent safe, I created some makeshift handles out of PVC to insulate the heat from her hands. For these shots, I knew if I recorded in a super high frame rate that I could do some speed ramping work in post to, shift movement when I wanted to. So I set my FPS to 120, matched the shutter speed to 240, and got to work. Here's how it went. One thing that I did not expect was the atmosphere that the colored smoke created. The smoke was thick and colorful, and it hung in the air, creating this crazy dreamlike aesthetic that I didn't even expect to happen. The spinning and the twirling of the dancer enveloped her in a cloud of color, and I'm extremely happy with how it turned out. Challenge 1, complete. Now on to our second challenge, tracking. You've probably seen those videos of skydivers with smoke canisters attached to their ankles falling out of planes with the camera tracking their trail. Well, I don't have a plane or a good stomach for heights, so I opted for the next best thing, a longboarder. Now I've always loved skate videos, I grew up with them, but for some reason, the way a longboarder can carve through a street like a surfer can carve through waves has always been so visually appealing to me. So we found a good slope off on the country roads to start. This is our longboarder, Katie. We grabbed our smoke canisters and taped them down to the back of her longboard. The plan was to put me in the bed of my pickup truck with a gimbal and a camera and track her from the front so I can try my best to get a steady shot. After a practice round, we pulled the cord and we were ready for our first run. The purple was a great color to use since it contrasted so nicely against the gray pavement. Trying to get the timing right was a challenge since I had a fixed 50mm lens in my camera, and zooming wasn't an option since I was in the back of the car. So the run became this trial of trying to have safe spacing between us and the longboarder and a close enough shot to capture the effects of the smoke. My goal was to get an effective tracking trail of smoke from the longboard, which we did. It would have been nice to get some different angles of Katie on the longboard, but at the end of the day, I'm pretty happy with what we captured. Challenge 2 completed. Now, on to our final challenge, atmosphere. My goal on this challenge was to incorporate the smoke into a shot that would add an extra layer to the footage. After thinking on it, I realized that staging a protest scene would be a really cool use for this smoke. So we gathered some actors and headed to an unlikely place, under an overpass on a grass field. Since you can't just pop one of these bad boys off in a city, which I highly do not recommend. Please check your local and state laws to make sure that smoke canisters are legal in your area. The overpass would give us a good background to stage a city location while still being in a remote area. Here's what we got. Since the smoke came from one localized source, the actors walking through the smoke would provide a nice atmosphere that adds a bit of realism to the scene. We did this by planting the smoke canisters in a fixed position and walking upwind through the oncoming cloud. Here's where a little movie magic came to play. A normal shot here would show the field, giving away our location and removing the cloak of assumption. But with a little creative angle, we were able to get our actors, the signs, and the smoke in the shot with the overpass in the background, sailing our imaginary city location. So, with this shot in the books, challenge number 3 completed. Now if you're scanning your mind trying to think of a way that you can use this in your next video, take a second to consider this. Have you gone out recently and shot something just because you know it would look cool? I mean, painters paint when they've got a good vision, and writers write when they've got a good idea. So what's stopping you from going out there and recording something just to have the footage? Okay, I get it, it's a reach, but if the artist angle isn't working for you, then this is amazing demo reel footage. If you're really trying to set your reel above the rest, experiment with your shots to capture something that no one else has. This will be your shot, and if you post it to your social media pages, who knows who might see it? I mean, it's not gonna hurt, is it? I mean, for example, I posted a small cut of these shots on Facebook, and out of nowhere someone messaged me to shoot their wedding, just because I posted something that I thought looked dope. Now, if I'm really gonna be honest, to me, this video is not about smoke effects. All of us on this channel have one goal in mind: to show every filmmaker out there that doesn't believe that they can shoot like the pros absolutely can. You don't need a big crew, an expensive camera, or a huge production budget to get a good shot. It's about finding those small little additions that bring that extra inch to your videos to make them stand out. Production value doesn't have a price. It does, however, have worth. So I challenge you to find that small thing to give your video that extra inch. Let me know what you come up with. You might find yourself at the beginning of your next big project along the way.